Today, the world is more complex, more competitive, and more contested. In this scenario, it's very important to discuss the role of superpowers in international order because their orientation decides that in which way the international order is proceeding. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Ritu, and today we are going to discuss very important topic of IR, which is Israel-US ties. And this topic is important from GS2 perspective. So, moving to the points of discussion part. So, first of all, we are going to discuss the news, that why we are discussing this particular news, and then what is their origin of their ties, and then what is the current scenario of their relationship, and then what are the tensions they have, and then why US always backed Israel, and then practice question for prelims and mains. So, moving to the news part. So we already know that Israel and Hamas are clashing over each other, and on 7th of October, Hamas had attacked on Israel, in which 1400 people have been killed. And in retaliation, Israel had also attacked on the Gaza Strip, in which around 8,000 people had killed so far. So this was the attack between Israel and Hamas. Then why we are discussing involvement of US here? Because US is so much involved in this scenario, and after this attack, the US President Joe Biden had also visited the Israel, and it had supported their solidarity with the Israel. And there are other things which are need to be discussed in this thing, because it's very high time that two countries are fighting over each other. In order to make peace dialogue between these two countries, so many countries who are supporting Israel and so many countries who are supporting Palestine. So this will create more international divide between international order. So this is a very worrisome situation for the whole world order, because in UNSC, United Nations Security Council, the United States had vetoed its power on the humanitarian peace, and in UNGA they had voted against the humanitarian truce. So this was the problems with the US, that US is supporting Israel, and it is creating more tensions in entire world order, because US is an economy in which so many countries are dependent on it, and because of the economic independence or economic dependency, they are not able to directly claim or condemn the Israel attack on Gaza Strip. So this is the news we are going to discuss in today's class. So moving to the next slide. Next slide is about that what is the origin of their ties. So in 1948, we already know that Israel has been formed as an independent nation. But before 1948 also, US had supported the idea of Jewish land in the Palestinian land. So when there was a 1919, there was a Balfour Declaration, and in this Balfour Declaration, the British administration had declared that there will be a Jewish homeland in Palestine, which has been also endorsed by the US. And in 1922, US had passed a resolution in which they had endorsed the Balfour Declaration, and they had said that there should be a Jewish homeland in the Palestine. So this was their origin of their ties, and later also, but their relationship was not much smooth since 1967. They had a very cordial relationship, but not much strong relationship. And in 1948, US was the first country who had decided that Israel is an independent nation. So in this way, their ties were stronger, but not much stronger. But there was a twisting point and turning point in 1967, when Israel alone had defeated Syria, Jordan, and Egypt. In that scenario, the US has changed its attitude towards the Israel, and they had said that Israel is a very superpower in the West Asian nations and also in the Middle East. And they had changed their attitude towards Israel, and since 1967 they were inseparable. They were little bit of clashes between them, but that had not able to break their special relationship or strong their relationship. So this is the origin of their ties, that they had in touch since 1948, and before 1948 also US was in the favor of Jewish homeland. So moving to the next slide. Next slide is about that what is the current status of their ties. It means that how much involved they are with each other. So we already know that US had supported Israel in its whatever happening between Israel and Palestine, and so many countries had condemned the Hamas attack. US had also condemned the Hamas attack, and in retaliation, the Israel had also bombed the Gaza. So many countries, including India, had condemned such kind of attacks on the Gaza Strip, because so many innocent people are killed. but here US became very cautious, and it had cautiously criticized Israel attacks on Gaza bombing, and it had said that it was the Hamas who has first initiated this kind of the war, and Israel had full right to self defend and self protection. So in order to retaliate, they had advocated this kind of the bombing. So this kind of situation is also a worrisome situation for the whole world order, because their ties are very concerning for the whole world order, because they are not advocating for the peace, they are voting against the peace. So this is the current scenario, and since 1967 we already know that there's stronger ties between the Israel and US, and there are multiple reasons that why they have this stronger ties. We will discuss in further slide. And today Israel is a very nuclear superpower, but they had not supported and they had not faced any kind of scrutiny. And why they had not faced any kind of scrutiny in nuclear weapons? Because they had this US backing. So these are the current status they have. Coming to the next support, that what kind of the support US is providing to Israel, especially in this kind of situation. So US is militarily supporting, financially supporting Israel, and also the politically supporting. So when it comes to the trade, so for US, Israel is the largest trading partner, and for Israel also US is the largest trading partner. And coming to the Americans aid, so how much aid they had received so far? So for Israel, they had received $158 billion since World War. So they had received this much amount of the aid from the US. So this is very huge aid. And coming to the military aid, so they had recently received $3.8 billion from the US. So they are militarily also stronging and supporting Israel in this kind of the situation. And US is also Israel's largest trading partner, and together they consist and they contribute $50 billion of the trade, which is also huge and significant in number. And they had also developed a very good defense partnership in which they together collaborate on various innovations and development of different kind of weapons around the world, and they also trade together. So these kind of things, the current situation we have for the Israel and US, and their ties are so much stronger in every arena, not in the political arena, also in the militarily, economically, trading. So in every arena they are supporting each other. So moving to the next slide is about that what are the tensions between Israel and US. So do we have tensions between Israel and US? So right now we don't have much bigger tensions between these two countries, but the history has said that they had few tensions between each other. And since 1967 they had also few tensions regarding the nuclear war, regarding the nuclear weapons, regarding the economic ties, but they were not that strong that they are able to break this special relationship. So there were few clashes between US president and Israeli prime minister, but they had said that they were not much big that they can break the special relationship between these two countries. And there were few tensions like Camp David Accords, in which US has pressurized the Israel to normalize relationship between other Arab countries, but which was not much successful. But they had signed this Camp David Accords. And George W. Bush, when he was the president, then he had also asked the Israel to restrain in the West Asian area, and in retaliation Israel had also claimed and alleged that US is appeasing the Arabians. So these kind of the few classes we have. And in the presidency of Barack Obama, they had fought and they had clashed over the Iran nuclear deal. And recently the Joe Biden had also criticized the judicial system of Israel. So these are the small classes they have, but when it comes to the support, they are supporting each other, and US is always there for the Israel. And in this scenario also we can see that so many countries, especially the superpowers, are asking for that there should be the peace and humanitarian truce between both countries, but US is not backing such kind of the peace settlement between both countries. So moving to the next slide is about that why does the US always back Israel? So there must be a solid ground that why they are supporting each other, and why US is always behave like a big brother for the Israel. So there are solid reasons. The first reason is that in the Cold War area, when the US and the Soviet Union were fighting, at that time in that area, especially the Arabian world, they were the two enemies who were the allies of the Soviet Union, who were the Egypt and Syria. So they were the allies of the Soviet Union. And in 1967 war and in 1948 war, the Israel has defeated these two powers. So in that way they had grew their friendship. Also, in West Asia, it helps US to expand its expansionist policy, and it also limits the Soviet Union expansionist policy in West Asia. So in this way their ties are stronger historically. And moving to the what is the current scenario they have, that why they are not able to oppose Israel's in their kind of the attack. If they are doing wrong also they are not able to do, and especially the Democrats and Republicans, both parties support the Israelians mission in whatever the missions and whatever the aims they have. So there is a solid reason. The first reason is that there are two groups and political groups who are very much active in US. The first is American Jews and the second is evangelical Christians. So they are very politically active and they have a very much political say in the political arena of the US, and they influences US policy a lot. So because of these two people, these two groups, they are not able to oppose Israel and they always extend their support to Israel. Why they support these two community? Because they are very financially strong community and politically active community, and they support financially, politically to all those parties. So recently they had contributed $30 billion to both the parties, in which 63% of which went to the Democrats and the rest went to the Republicans. So what we can see here is that, they both parties take political and economic support from these two political groups. So because of this thing, they are not able to oppose Israel and they are supporting Israel unconditionally. So these are the reasons we have. Moving to the next slide. Next slide is about that practice question for prelims. And here this question had been already asked in 2018. The term two-state solution is sometimes mentioned in the news in the context of the affairs of, and your options are China, Israel, Iraq, Yemen. You already know the answers, so kindly comment. Moving to the next slide. Next slide is about that the growing ties between US and Israel can be worrisome for India and allies. So being a UPSC aspirant, you should know that how you can relate all these things to with the India and how can formulate your answer. So whenever you study any topics from the IR, you should always focus on that, how it can be helpful for India and how it can impact India. So this is a good way to approach any international order topic. So here they are asking that how their ties can affect and impact India. So first, you already know that US is a largest trading partner for Israel, also for India also, that they are in a very good condition. So for both countries, financially or economically, India is a very good partner. But when it comes to the political support, the India has a very different kind of stance from the US. So recently we have seen that there was a UNGA resolution in which they had asked for the humanitarian truce between both countries, in which that US had opposed this kind of resolution. On the other hand, the India has abstained from this kind of the resolution. It means that they had not even supported the Israel and also the Palestinians. So the India had always taken a neutral political stand when it comes to the Palestine and Israel. And when there was a bombing in Gaza, so India had also extended its support to the Gaza people. And when there was a bombing and there was a issues with the Hamas in Israel, then India had also supported Israel and they had condemned the attack by the Hamas. So in this way, India cannot take a particular stand. So if they will grow stronger, they might lobby against India, and they are the huge trading partner of the India. So if they lobby against India, that will create huge trouble for India, because so much of our trade and economic supports depend upon the US and Israel. So this is also a worrisome situation. On the other hand, India always advocated without looking for the financial repercussion. India had always advocated that it is against the terrorism, it is against any kind of the violence. And it had always said that, violence is never a solution for any kind of the problem. So India had equally supported the Palestinian and also the Israelians. So in this way, India should not behave like that. They had to take a particular stand and they had to take sides with the Israel. So India is in a very good and stable position, but their bonding and their ties can impact India financially and also the politically. So in this way we have to see, because so many diaspora and huge diaspora who are working in the US and also in the Israel. So if they will started hating and they will say that you will be deported to your country, then it will also affect the Indian economy, because we receive so much remittances from these two countries. So in this way, this is a worrisome situation, but India should not worry because it had always advocated peace in this whole international order. So I hope you like this lecture. If you have any queries related to this lecture, kindly ask in the comment section. Thank you.